From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
And so it is. Welcome everybody to Wednesday night soup, vegetable soup for women. And I have a phenomenal woman who's back with me again. Christy Priester is going to join us to talk about pure inspiration, her beautiful, beautiful book of a journey that she has taken thus far that has taught her so much, that we're even going to talk about Jamaica No Problem. That's why I got this poster up. I'll tell you about this poster in a minute, but let's welcome my village, tiny house village, to the program.
The cook could put it in her. The cook could put in her. And her could was in this order. Could the cook request could in her. The cook could put it in her. The cook could put in her. I looked even dressed with mad push aloud. On the bed with bad the cool type.
And that music is thanks to my brother Imak, who is an amazing musician, creator, and you can find him on YouTube channel and Facebook, Imak, E-M-A-K-H. Thank you, Imak, for creating such a beautiful rhythm. And for all of you, I thank you for joining us tonight. If you're here, we're going to talk to Christy today. And this poster, I kind of grabbed this poster from a job that I'm working today, or this week, all week. I'm working with a veteran military woman. I'm helping her empty out a pod of belongings into her house before the end of the month. And I found this poster rolled up, and I was trying to figure out, well, what should we do with this poster? And I unrolled it. And I thought about the adventure that Christy writes about in her book, which was so interesting. And I had a very similar incident in my journey in Jamaica. Jamaica no problem. Jamaica no problem. And we had nothing but problems. So let let me bring on my guest because we don't want to hesitate. This is going to be I think, a great conversation about life. And you know what, Christy, I love as I was reading your book, I kept thinking about why pure inspiration? Because, there's inspiration, but we never talk about pure. And I love the way you include all these really pure adventures. They're pure in the sense that they taught you, they inspired you, they motivated you. And I love the little quiz at the end. I just did it about an hour ago. I was writing furiously at the end, answering the questions at the end, which I thought was just great. So thought provoking, and thank you so much for putting this creative work out, because it really did bless me as I read it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad. That was a good question. Why pure? And I think most of the lessons that I was talking about and sharing, in the book came from the pure source that, is here to guide us and teach us and help us to fulfill our purpose here and, fulfill our destiny. So, yes, I actually called it pure inspiration because I felt like it's pure. It's real. It's authentic. It's the truth, my truth, and how I saw things and processed the information and the lessons that I was learning. So, yeah.
And I like the cover that illustrates fruit from the tree, which is kind of, did you mean for that tree to represent us as a body, as a temple, and the fruit that we give I really, that's what my thought was as I read about each of the people that you write about. They gave their own fruit from their tree of life, their temple, their mind.
Absolutely, you got it. However, when it comes to art, I like people to interpret it, to take from it whatever you can, however it resonates with you. But that is what I felt when I did design it, the tree of fruit. So yeah. And I thought it was creative. I liked. We're all different types of fruit, and
it is. It's amazing right now in this country. And if you look at what's going on in the news, there's so much division, and yet the unity and oneness that we're going to talk about tonight is what we need to be teaching our children.
Absolutely.
The adults are just not getting it yet. It's like it's the adults that are causing the drama, trauma, violence, and the children are like trying to get along together. And we adults are like, no, we're not going to get along. We're going to pull each other's hair out. We're going to fight. We're going to argue. We're going to debate. It is crazy right now what's going on in our society, I think. So thank you for joining us for this much needed conversation on purity. From your heart, I'd say from your heart.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and in case my audience missed you the last time you were here, tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and all that. I think your history is so fascinating.
Okay.
Anyway, so if you don't mind sharing a little bit about where you grew up and your whole family.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota, the Twin Cities, cold Minnesota. And I grew up in an interracial family. My mother was white and my father was black. So I grew up with learning a lot about the color issue, racism issue.
Different cultures.
Yeah, for sure. And I have 3 sisters that were I call them my shadows. I was the oldest of the 3. And they were all life lessons. It taught me a lot about life, having siblings and being the leader of the pack. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to move to Atlanta to get out of the cold. Moved to hot Atlanta, where I love it. I got my peach fuzz. You can't see it, but there's some peach fuzz over here. And this is where my I say second part of my journey in life began. I had came here and wanted to just experience my culture, the Black culture, because I didn't get a lot of that in Minnesota. We, 3% white, Caucasian, and everything was education, white, the environment was white, the mindsets were white, everything was, on one-sided. So when I came to Atlanta, I got to see the other side, the real culture.
Well, you could have came down to Chicago and got a little more Blackness in you.
I went to Chicago. I ran away and went to Chicago. I found my first love in Chicago. That was that's the next story.
Okay.
And a really good one coming. So I came here, and this is where I had my accident. I was in a hit and run bicycle accident that left me as a wheelchair user. And that happened. I've been in the wheelchair now over 40 years. And since then, pardon me?
I didn't realize it had been that long.
40 years, yes.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
It has been 40 years. 40 something. I stopped counting. I stopped
you
counting.
Were how old when it happened? How old were you when it happened? Like a teenager?
No, I was 26.
Oh,
I was still in my prime, 26.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped counting how my age and everything, I think at 40. So I count increments of 10. So I'm still in the 60s, I think. Yeah, 60 something. But anyway, it's been a while since I've been in the wheelchair, and I went back to school, went to school for early childhood development, and then started my own business. Nobody would give me a job, so I started my own business, and I became a publisher, teaching early childhood issues and skills and things of that nature. And I, from there, downsized that business in 2011 and started writing as an author books. So I went from magazine publishing to now book publishing. And what my goal is now is to start a safety program for children and make safety heroes out of our children, educate them about the importance of safety.
Now, were you writing when you were younger, or did you start writing after your accident?
No, I just started writing, when I got into my business and went to school after I got in the accident. I started, when I went to school opened the door for me for reading and writing. Because I didn't like writing or reading. And if you would have told me I was going to be a book publisher back then, I said, you need to go see another visionary
psychiatrist or something.
Yeah, because I didn't like school growing up. Grew up in a Catholic school, mean nuns that used to beat us and everything. They deterred me from wanting to, like education. I felt if that's how they're going to educate me, that is not going to be it wasn't going to be something I liked. I didn't enjoy school at all. So, when I went back to school after my accident, I loved school. That's when I fell in love with reading. I had the best reading teacher. She gave me the best books to read. And I got involved with the school newspaper. I became the book. I used to do the book reports, reviews and stuff. And got involved in a little journalism. I never thought I was going to be a journalist and doing my own magazine, but that's how things worked out.
It works. Yeah. I hated college. I hated all the reading we had to do in college. And once I finished college, I thought I'm not going to read any more books. I'm not going to do anything. But once I got into my field of health and well-being and nutrition and all that, I loved going to school. I loved studying. I love studying about the human body. And that's the furthest thing I did in college.
Interesting. Isn't it interesting? We have a magnificent machine here. This is
it's getting into our purpose in life where we start really getting excited and having that pure inspiration, like you said.
Absolutely.
It's really the one inspiring us to do what we do now versus what we were
Mhm.
forced to do, Catholic school and all the rest.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Yeah. So you're
Mhm.
married now, did you say?
Say what?
You said you're married now?
I think I am. I think I am. It's a vague memory of what happened that day. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Well, you have a partner. Let's just say you have a partner.
yes, I do. Well, I'm married. Mhm.
And that's what I'm trying to encourage certain people in my life. There's a male person who I'm interested in. And actually he's in California, but he's been married 4 times.
Okay.
And I think he's kind of like done with marriage in a way. He likes being married, but all that. I'm like, you need to change your thinking now. Spiritual partnership is the way to go from this forward. You've had 4 classes in marriage, and they didn't end well. They didn't end like they should, So the last one passed away. The last one passed away before, after like 5 years or something. So yeah, he's almost ready, I think, to learn how to have a partnership instead of a marriage.
He's pretty much a professional at this stage. 4 times, that's a good number of getting it. Yeah.
I call it marriage 101, 102, 103, and 104.
Yeah, he's got a degree in that.
Yeah, next graduate school is next.
Yes.
Spiritual, pure inspiration. I'm gonna send him your book.
Thank you. And I'll tell you what, the next time I get married, I'm gonna have to marry a graduate. Yes. You're lucky you got one.
Well, I don't have him yet. We've been doing a lot of conversation because my partner passed. My partner and his partner met once. I met him and his partner once, and then both of our partners passed.
Oh.
So it's like been a lot of synchronicities, which was what I want to talk to you about your book. You don't mention synchronicities, but this book is full of it. All these coincidences that really I term as synchronicities. And that's what's kind of attaching me to this guy. And he's in California, he's in Tennessee. Okay. And we have not met for 6 years. We haven't really met personally, but we've had conversations here and there. And then Most High Creator is like, okay, here's another synchronicity. Throws that in. I'm like, okay. So I'm curious but patient, because what I'm doing, the work that I'm doing now is helping someone who is attached to a lot of stuff. And I do not want to get involved with anybody who's attached more to their stuff than they are to the Most High. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about your pure inspiration journey, especially the 3-year-old. That's the story that really tugged at my heart.
Dinitra.
Yeah.
And the name her name, that's not her initial name. I changed the name for personal reasons. The parents don't want the name out there. Okay. So yes, that was a heck of a experience. After working with children, for many years, and seeing her when she first came to me, I was sitting in my spot.
Outside,
just reading. I used to sit out there, read. And she just came up with her friend, her cousin, and stuff. And children, I know it's because of the love I have for them, that they draw to me like a magnet.
Yes.
So they don't have a problem with being who they are and saying what they want. They have no filters about what they say and how they say it. And I don't correct them. I don't change them about that unless it's totally disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And that's been very seldom. But she just came up to me and, what's your name? Miss Christy, you live there? I said, yes. By yourself? Yes. Who takes care of you? And I'm like, my husband. So you can he helps you get dressed? Yes. I mean, she had a whole line of questions she wanted to know that, and most of them, evolved around about my care. And I was like, okay. I said, well, now let me ask you something. What is your name? And she told me her name, and I said, and where do you live? I said, I live up the hill, right up there. She had just moved up there. And her diction was so so concise. It was so, she was 3 years old. And I mean, she spoke just like you and I are speaking. Full sentences, complete words. It wasn't, no Southern. And her parents were totally opposite. They had, Southern draws and talked like they come down from down south and in the country. And I after I met her, I was like, wow, how did this happen? How did she get? Yeah. But I found out she was also close to her grandmother on the father's side, who spent a lot of time with her in teaching her too. But for 3 years old, this child was beyond. I mean, when they talk about old souls, I met one. She was one. She was a blessing, a beautiful child.
And then to have such a short time with her really would open up your eyes to realize she was meant to be here to teach me something and then just go back.
Yeah. And she did. And I think she, just not me, but everyone she touched,
Yeah.
she brought something to them. Yeah, she was a teacher. And I mean, she didn't have a problem chastising her older brother. And I had concern about that, about this little child, trying to take on the responsibility of parenting her older siblings, making sure they're going to they're doing what they're supposed to do. And so it was very interesting. But yeah, she was.
So after she passed, and I don't know, you want to tell how she passed? It was an accident on a bike or
It
something?
was an accident. Her grandmother was in a wheelchair also, and she was amputee, and she had quite a few health problems. And so, and it's funny because I've had a lot of kids ride on the back of my wheelchair. They would ride. I used to have them bundled up all over. Some stood in between my legs and would hold on and try to drive the chair. Some were on the back of the chair. When I take them out for different field trips, and I've have over maybe 4 or 5 children with me, I use reverse psychology on them. And I would tell them that they had to make sure they kept their eyes on me because we didn't want nobody to kidnap me. And so it worked. They thought they were holding on to the arms of the chair. They would make sure they stand by the chair, either in front of the chair. And I mean, it always worked. They always were making sure Miss Christie was going to be safe and nobody was going to take her away. And so it wasn't foreign to see kids riding on the back of the chair with me or her grandmother. She rode on the back of her grandmother's chair, and they were crossing a busy highway that we lived off of in Decatur here, Covington Highway, and the mother got struck by a car. A car hit her, and it was somebody driving a car who stole a car.
Oh dear.
And, a young teenage boy hit her. and instantly killed Danitra, and the mother went into the hospital critical condition. And sadly, after she found out the grandbaby died, she died too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's enough to grieve you into death, like my sister.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
so. But then at 3 years old, it's like when and then the time you spent with her. What would you say was the most important lesson you learned from her for the what few months that you knew her?
Oh gosh, there were so many lessons I learned from her. She was a talker. I could not get that child to be quiet. I used to tell her when we were going places, I'd say, Dinitra, you got to give your brain a rest. It was as if she was always talking and letting things out, something always, she had something always to talk about. And I think one of the most important lessons she that I gathered from her was listening. Listening is a skill. It's
And
something,
action.
yes, it's something we're we're told to do, but we've never been taught or trained how to do it. We think that it's just an issue of sitting there and listening to somebody and shutting up and just hearing what they're saying. But real listening is putting pieces together of what a person is saying and making sure you're comprehending or even reading between the lines. It's like reading a person. You listen to content clues. You listen to, you look for um, inferences and things. And like I said, are you reading between the lines of what people are saying? Because sometimes people are talking about something that can be very detrimental, such as in her situation, she was being put in a position as being a caregiver at 3 years old, and she would always talk about these things. And I'm trying to figure out what's the best way of trying to help her in dealing with her issues. And so one of the things that I offered, was to tutor her. She was already very articulate with speaking the language. However, she was ready. She was ready to learn more. She was ready. She was like a sponge. She wanted to get into everything, the computer, and she hadn't had a lot of experience on the computer. And I had a second computer in my office at home that was set up just for kids to get on to teach them, reading and accelerated reading. So I felt as though it would be appropriate to work with her to give her an opportunity to just be a kid, not be a caregiver. And so she was with me all the time. We go to the parks, we went out to eat, we went out to events. She was one of my biggest supporters when I had to do things. She always wanted to hang with me, and all she do come out the door, "Hey, Miss Chris, can I come down?" And I was, "Ask your mother," and she'd be down there. And so any opportunity I could give her to just get away from that environment to be a kid, I did.
So you said her mother or her grandmother passed shortly after?
The grandmother passed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Who was
the
in the
mother's
wheelchair when
mother.
it happened?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so how did the mother do with that transition?
Oh, she took it very hard. She, which is expected that, she lost two souls, her mother and her daughter. She lost her mother, yeah, her mother and her daughter, and that was extremely hard, for her. And she was a young mother. She was a very young mother, and she was so passionate and soft, very um, she just was a very soft-spirited person, you
Yeah.
know. And I know she just took, yeah, she took it really hard.
Have you ever heard of the Death Cafe?
The deaf, D,
Cafe.
yeah, Death or deaf.
Yeah, Death Cafe.
Okay, okay, no.
I was talking to a woman at the health food store today. She's going to have a death cafe next month, and she asked me to come and participate. And it's just a place where people can go and have a conversation about transitions in their life and how to deal with it and how to accept it and how just to find peace and talk to other people. It's like a support group for
Yeah.
people who have lost or have
Mhm.
seen someone transition. So I think in a situation like that, I thought about the 3 year old. That's a hard time for a mother at 3. You haven't had much time with that child. But my sister's daughter was 14 years old, and even that transition was extremely hard on her, and she passed away 2 years later after her 14-year-old died suddenly. So that's why I think the Death Cafe is needed and important to help those who are left behind to understand why, the why. Because I'm sure the mother was at why would this happen? Why did it happen? Everybody goes through that why, especially at that age. Why did it happen? And so, what is the why of a 3 year old leaving so soon?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've had that question long before this here issue. And I think sometimes we come here for a purpose. And I think we have a spiritual understanding of that purpose before we even get here. And I think that the spirit that is our guide actually gives us the okay to make that transition back home, once we've completed what our purpose is. And sometimes that purpose may not always be to be here for a long time. And um, it's also for, I think, death when it happens with children, it does a number of things. It makes us become more conscious and aware of appreciating life. We go through that and feel that with teenagers and people of every stage. But when it happens when you lose a child, I think it's more pronounced. It's it's more, it's deeper. I Because they just didn't get the full chance, we think, but we never know. She may have been here 2, 3 times, because I'm telling you, that soul, she see, when they say old souls, that means a soul that has possibly been here before.
Yeah, in other words, it's not their first rodeo, as they say.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it too is when we have children, we possess and attach like this is my child. This is I'm going to be responsible instead of this is a gift from the Most High, and I need to understand. It's called conscious parenting. One way to look at it, that this is a gift. I should not get too attached because this soul is here to teach me something as well as me to teach them something. And then when they leave suddenly, if we were to keep that perspective, which is not easy, it might not be so hard to grieve
Yes.
and go into death, because that's what so many
Yeah.
mothers.
Accepting, we can accept a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I know I went through a tragic loss with my niece, and she was in her 30s, but that was the hardest death I've ever had to go through in my life. And I lost my mother, my play mother, my father. Had a lot of loss in my life, but they were more accepting, easy to accept for me. But my niece was something totally different. It was just, yeah, that was the hardest death I had for, that I ever had to deal with.
So was it because you were more attached to her, or I think about how much pleasure they bring you, how much interaction you had versus the other people who maybe you weren't as attached and didn't have the interaction and feel that loving attachment.
Yes, and I was attached to her. We were very close, and she came to me all the time. We just had a very kindred spirit with each other. We had the same type of goals and ambitions and understanding about why we did things alike. And even she even favored me. I look back at our baby pictures, my baby pictures and her baby pictures. I showed her one picture of me one time, and I said to her, her name was Monique. I said, Mo, I said, who's this? And she looked at it and she said, that's me. And I said, "Ooh, that's me. I said, that's
That's
it
close.
looked just like her as
Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how did she leave? What happened to her?
she was killed tragically.
Oh,
Yeah, she was killed tragically. Her and her she was gay, and her ex-girlfriend, they were friends, and her girlfriend had got out of jail, and she went to her to accompany her, get her back to her rooming house where she was staying before she went to jail. And the man who owned, so-called owned the rooming house, he did not. He was subleasing it. Actually didn't want her back in there.
hmm.
Either, neither one of them. Um, the lady, the girl that the young lady that was her girlfriend, my niece's girlfriend, he didn't want her back in there. He had put her stuff out actually, and it was on the curb, and they had to call the police, and it's still a case pending. She's still,
Hmm.
they just found him, and
Was this
so
in Atlanta?
this happened in Atlanta. It was all over the news and everything, pictures and all. And he shot my niece twice and killed her, and shot the girlfriend 6 times, and she lived. So you have to think and wonder just about that in itself. Yeah, he was shooting at her. She said she begged him for her life. But when the first shot, he shot at the girlfriend, hit her in the hip, and she fell immediately. And then he came back and shot at her again as she was trying to block the bullets. She took 6 more bullets, but the 2 bullets that he shot at my niece killed her instant. She said she didn't die instantly. She hurt her, but eventually died on the way to the hospital. Hmm.
Yeah. So that, oof, that's heavy. That's
Yeah,
deep.
yeah.
Because why, that's the big why her, why not her, and why, I feel like her assignment is not complete, the one who lived, but
No, it's not. However, it's a story. It's a story. It's a
she still
book.
has a lot of challenges and to go. Her
Mhm.
journey is going to be more challenging.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a book.
And okay, so what about past life? What is your belief, and how have you viewed past life now that you pure inspiration? Have you had? I didn't see a lot about past lives in here, or did
No,
I?
yeah, that was not an issue that I touched on, but I do believe in past lives. I do believe
Okay.
that,
Okay.
souls are resurrected. I look at even the story of Jesus. He was a resurrected soul. So if he had come here before and he, left here and then came back after he died to show, that was, I think, his whole purpose of Jesus's life was to show us and give us examples of what actually does exist. And if his story is true, as many believed, he died and was in a tomb for 3 days and then resurrected. So, if it's true to happen for him and he said what he did, what he has done in his life, if we believe, have the belief of a mustard seed, we can do what he did and things much greater.
Well, so, that's what he told us. We would do much more than he did.
He did. So what much more can we do?
Okay.
Die and resurrect. So I look forward to that transition when I go to the next realm. I think it's good. It's got to be. I'm praying it's going to be really exciting.
Of course.
We can do much more than what we're doing here.
And you leave that fleshly body, that vessel, and let that burden fall. It's all freedom now. What's the most challenging thing for you in your current state, physical state?
With my disability or my emotions and all this stuff.
All of that. Yeah, because pure inspiration is about overcoming to me. Because every challenge you have, you think about, well, there's angels, there's ancestors, there's messenger. I mean, every morning I'm like, good morning, ancestors, good morning, angels, birds, bees. So
yes,
the challenges you have, what is your emotional way and your physical way to overcome the state that you're currently in?
I think the word acceptance, that's why I believe in this pillar of using awareness, accountability, and acceptance, and then action has helped me to just accept things, accept it, accept
and
things.
Not complain. And you're saying not complain.
Well, I'll complain, but I'm gonna complain to somebody who can fix the problem. I'm trying to find Shaquille O'Neal. So that's my soulmate. He don't know it yet, but that's my future husband. We're going to be married and live happily ever after, whether it's here or in eternity. I say, yeah, I love Shaq. He has such a spirit of giving and understanding of life, I think, and he demonstrates that in his behaviors and the things that he does. And so he's one of the persons I'm out here looking for to try to be a part of the safety program. Back to the whole purpose of me writing these books are to raise funds for the safety program that I'm putting together for the children. And so I think that's something he would be honored and would probably love to be a part of, to see, a lot of children out here wanting to become safety heroes, and he can help be the leader of that and encouraging them.
Well, we're putting the word out to Shaq. Yeah. Answer the call, Shaq.
Here I am, Shaq. I'm waiting. Yeah. I'm being patient.
Yeah. And just keep sending broadcasting that energy.
Oh, it's out there. It's coming. I know it's coming. So,
you talk about those four. Is it awareness, accountability, acceptance, and action, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So awareness, do you think Shaq has the awareness that you have in terms of what is the consciousness that is so important right now in our society?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I think he has it on a level that's beyond what is the norm, what perhaps you and I have. Because
Really?
he's been in several different classes of people that are running things in this country, in this world. And he's been in our class, the norm, he knows what it is about to be poor, um, or underprivileged. He has been looked at too as a person with a disability because of his size. He actually, I think his size and everything came from a disabled category.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't stop growing.
Uh-huh.
And at a young age, when he was in high school and teenage and a young 7, 8 year old, he was a giant compared to other kids. He was always out the norm.
Right,
So
right.
that was always considered as a disability as well. The way
It's
people would
funny
treat
that
him.
word disability is kind of misused. Do you ever feel like that
I don't
there's
like it at
a
all.
word to describe? Yeah, well, there's a better word to describe your uniqueness,
I
really.
call it special needs.
Special needs. I like
That's
that
what
better.
I. That's what, and I try to get the state and stuff when they were picking names, for identifying people with special needs. What would be advantageous to use. And my theory was always special needs, but I guess disability, one word. They looked at a lot of different other things for reasons why to use that.
It seems like you have to be the one to correct them on that. That
Yeah,
I'm not disabled. I have special needs because it's under negative
it
connotations too.
is. Look
Yeah,
up the word. It's
yeah.
very negative.
I mean, just think about Shaq. His special need is he cannot get on an airplane and sit in economy. That would just
He
be so.
can't get in a car, on an
Yeah,
average car. Some
thank you.
in the
Unless he's very uncomfortable. So is he disabled? No, he
he
has a
has
special
special
need
needs.
in a room wherever he's sitting.
Exactly. And
Even
that's
my
what I have. I have
yeah.
special needs. I
So
am not disabled.
yeah, we got to
You know,
correct people. We got to correct people on that because
I agree with you.
the energy of it is that you are less than, you're not able, you're
So
disabled. Yeah, yeah, let's correct that thinking. Erase, erase that,
let's erase it
and
out.
let's go special
Hmm.
needs. And so then maybe people will be more accommodating, more
Hmm.
compassionate instead of disabled. Oh, here they come, the
Here they
disabled.
come. And it's funny because people's you are so absolutely right how these words affect people's attitudes and behaviors towards you. I had when I went to California, I experienced two separate issues with the airlines, and both times it was because people were not, their staff were not trained properly as to how to deal with somebody such as myself that has special needs. And I'm told they are trained, but these people, these young folks, were not applying what they supposed to had known to be able as to how to help me get in on the plane, off and on the plane. And my thing is, I've told several people about the issue and the incident, and they're like, "Oh, you should sue them. That you should sue them," and that is not always the answer. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that the executives up there in Frontier, Delta, and all of them are getting people to understand that we are here. People are going to have special needs in this lifetime, all the
Absolutely.
time. So
Absolutely.
we need to. We're not in the closet anymore. We're
Right.
not staying locked up in the houses and the institutions. So let's make this thing work because we do have something to offer. We do have something to bring to the table. we are just as viable as the next person. So I try to live that example and, advocate for that and hope that people can change their mindsets and not feel threatened that because they're going to invite me out to an event or whatever, that they have to worry about getting sued. I was denied, they tried to deny me going to school when I went back to school for early childhood development, that they did not want me to
Okay,
work
we
in
went out for a minute. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, she's frozen. I'm back.
Yeah, you're frozen
Okay, we're
now.
back. We're back. We're not back. We're back. We're back. We're not back. Okay, but this is I think this is a great point she's making about having more compassion and having an advocate. I was saying it's a great point you're making about having advocate for you as a special needs person all the time. You have to be your own advocate though, right?
All the time. All the time. And you have to, with me, my attitude is I walk out, I don't know, I just walk out every day in faith that I'm going to be okay. And the day that I'm not okay, that the universe is going to make sure and take care of it. I had an incident today. I went to a meeting and I've had this issue with my knee hitting the corner of my car and when I drive. And so when I got out the van today, I had dropped my sweat towel here. And there was a lady parked next to me and I asked her, I said, "Ma'am, could you kindly help me get my towel off of the floor that I dropped?" And so she saw, she got it, she got the towel and gave it to me. And when I got out the van, she said, "Oh my goodness, your knee is bleeding. Did you know that?" And I said, "No, I can't see it, from this point, and I can't feel it." And she said, "Oh, well, let me get my first aid kit." She went and got her first aid. She said, "I've never used this before." I said, "Well, I got one in my car too. I've never you had to use either. I guess that's a blessing." But she bandaged me up, got the first aid kit, wiped it off. She said, "Oh, we got to clean it. And then, let's put some cream on here and then bandage it up." And I said, "Oh, thank you. I don't have to worry about nothing out here. People are going to take care. We're going to take care of each other."
I think that's why people have tragedies, to bring people out of their selfishness.
Yes.
Because if that hadn't happened, she would have gone along her merry way, bought her whatever goods, consumer goods, and ate her pie and her cookie, whatever people are doing these days, and never thought to help someone else.
And you know what I did? I gave her a piece of pure inspiration. I was so grateful. I appreciate people. And so I said, "Can I please gift you with a book, with one of my book I just finished?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you wrote this?"
Yeah. That's why I gotta print my books now instead of just having as ebooks, because that's how I sold a lot of my dad's books, as I had the copy in my car. And people, I was either selling them out of my car or giving them out of my car. And I think that's why you remind me, that's why I need paperbacks in my car.
Yeah.
Because you never know who you're going to meet and who you can bless. Mama Z is calling with a book or something. And you know what? That was a setup. That was a setup by the Most High. The divine setup.
Universe.
Because people are so self-centered these days and so unloving these days that the universe is going to set them up for an opportunity like you had today. Yeah. You're going to help this woman bandage her knee, and you're going to get a book in return. How about that? And she probably wasn't even expecting that. Neither were you. But guess what? It happened.
And I think that's how, when you talk about faith and belief and, all these different spiritual concepts, they're at work every day. And I just I think of the bad that happens. I love that phrase. They say, take lemon and turn it into lemonade. I say cheers to that. Yeah, and
Yep.
you know, that's what keeps you getting through things. And the things that happen, I don't consider them as the worst things that could happen. When I spent the day in the hospital this week, and the people I met, they were all angels in there. They were all angels in there. They were all so, I mean,
And they needed
I hate
you.
hospital.
They needed you to administer to give to. You were the person they needed to come out of their self-centered, it's all about me, and say, no, I'm gonna give it to her.
And they were I think too, it was a way of me being able to show gratitude and let them know that they are appreciated. They may not get that every day from everybody, because everybody coming in there sick. Sometimes you want to feel like, don't touch me, don't talk to me. You do when you don't feel good. Sometimes you can be the hardest person. It was so funny though. This lady pulled a real good joke on me, and she was the one who administers the when they're giving you an X-ray. They have to put the needle, the fluid in your vein to show up on the X-ray. Right. And so I said to her, I said, how long have you been doing this? I said, are they treating you good here in the hospital? She said, oh yeah, I love my job. She said, I work in environmental services. They send for me to come over here and do this. So I said, what? I grabbed my arm. I said, you work in environmental services and you're here getting ready to help me get put a needle on my arm.
Right.
It was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. Okay.
It was a joke. I said, okay, you got me real good, Jennifer.
Really. And that, what, you just demonstrated your awareness, which is to me consciousness about what these people are here to do, what you're here to learn, and then being accountable to that moment that you had a responsibility to accept the situation, even though you're in the hospital, and then take action. Even in that case, to bless them, even the woman with your book, you took action by giving her a book. So I love that. I'm going to keep that awareness, accountability, acceptance, and action, the 4 A's.
Right. And I'm telling you, back to Shaq, I think one time I saw him, and I gave Jennifer a book too, after she helped me get out of there and everything. And so
you do carry him in your purse?
No, I can't. Yeah, I carry them in my purse, but I had one that I was getting ready to use for my editing. Okay. I would go through the book and like, okay, let me start for my next run. I'm going to probably make a few little changes, but but I have given away probably more books than I have sold. Yeah, and I print them in with that in mind, because it's not about the money for me. It's about, like with Jennifer, the lady in the hospital, I told her, I said, what you're doing, you are an angel. You are an earthly angel. And dealing with people with that type of mentality, personality, and character that's trying to bring some joy to them in this situation of circumstances that can be some of the worst that we may be experiencing. I look at people, these are angels around us that are doing work, and we should be showing our gratitude for it. And so it's, hey, and every time I give somebody a book, it's like, really? You wrote this? And can you sign it? And I said, no, I don't sign books, I give away.
You want
have
to
to buy
donate, then I'll sign
and
the
I'll
book. That's
sign
how you
them.
work, huh?
Yeah, that's how I work. You know, so it, and my hope is eventually people will, as I say, if you like it, share it. You know, and somebody else is gonna buy some. I don't worry about it. Are we still
I
on
am.
here?
I have
Okay.
you on
As
mute.
soon as Christy is back,
Okay.
she's frozen. Christy,
I'm here. I see you're frozen.
Wi-Fi. So hopefully that'll correct it. Are you back? You're back, dear?
I thought I'd been here.
Oh, my Wi-Fi switched over for some reason to a weaker setting, but Mama AZ is on the line. I think she has a comment or a question. Go ahead, Mama AZ.
Greetings, sister.
Greetings.
You look like my people. When I saw the flyer, I said, "Oh my God, you are so beautiful." Honestly, do you know your heritage?
Is she talking to me?
Yes, ma'am. Do you
Yes,
know your
ma'am.
heritage? Can you hear her okay?
Oh gosh, thank you for the comment.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
knows her heritage. She's
Yes, my great grandparents are German, are actually German, and that's on my mom's side, and on my father's side is my grandmother. She was from Choctaw, Alabama, and their history goes all the way back, you know, to the Pitneys in Africa.
You know that's Michael Jackson's grandmother. She's Choctaw too.
Okay.
Did I hear you say Choctaw? Your people are Choctaw?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, your persona. I'm getting chill bumps. Your persona, Sister Christy, is Choctaw, because if you look at Michael's grandmother, who's Choctaw, her jaws are bumping. My daughter Muffin, I call her Muffin because she got them bumping jaws and for you to bite. And you are so beautiful. You look like my people.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
grateful.
That's
And
so kind of you.
no, it's the truth, sister. And not only that, Michael's grandmother is not Christy, is Crystal Lee. So you ought to look into that, being that Dr. V and I know that she's Choctaw.
Okay.
There is a connection, and Dr. V can send you the information. But I just want to thank the both of you for confirming some things. Not only do you look like my people, sister, you have said so much that is confirming, and it helps me to stay strong. And I thank us. I appreciate you and Dr. V. Thank us. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
put up her a picture of her his grandmother if I can see if I can. Okay. Yeah, okay. You might not be able to see it that well though. Okay. Let me take this picture off. Okay, wait a minute.
Dr. V, I'm going to hang up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me see. And to stay. This is okay. See if I can get this. Okay, let me see if there's a better picture. Okay, can you see this picture right here? Oh wait, here's one. You see that?
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
That's his mother.
His grandmother.
On his dad's side.
His dad's side. Okay.
Let's see if there are any more. Yeah, that's probably the best picture because that's pretty old. I don't know when she was born, but and then there's one. I think is that, yeah. So we have talked about her on previous shows because I think the reason that Michael Jackson's biop is so successful is she is working on the other side. Because Mama Az is hearing about his grandmother is buried next to Mama Az's mother. Now, how do you figure that? What does that mean? And she's buried next to Mama Az's plot that she has bought. So Mama Az's mother has a plot. Then Michael Jackson's grandmother is next to her mother, and then Mama. So this ain't no coincidence. There's something going on here energetically that we should pay attention to, because the reason, in my opinion, that Michael Jackson has been reborn, because a whole new generation is feeling his energy now. And as one young lady said in Gen Z, she said, we are finally realizing the music we've been listening to is garbage. And now that they're listening to Michael Jackson, they realize what real music sounds like.
Oh, gosh.
So it's so interesting. And then so to have his grandmother showing up in her Mama Az's life like this and bringing it to her attention, something's going on in that spiritual energy that this biop is reaching $1 billion. It's going to be the most popular movie ever. Not just a biop. It's already passed Bohemian Rhapsody, which was the number one biop in sales. It's already past that now, and it's going to be reaching $1 billion. Never been done anywhere before. Wow. So we are living in such really interesting times where your awareness about just us talking about disabled versus special needs is important now. The
language.
The language
and how we
about what language does in energetically and vibrationally.
Yes.
Your book hopefully is going to, the more you're out here talking about this, you're gonna be people will be more accepting of special needs, more patient, more appreciative even of the lessons that they're learning. When I see a person with special needs, I have a very close friend, and she might be watching, and she has a real challenge with her hands and her feet. So she's in a mobile chair, and she has a lot of pain often. And I just am so grateful that she's teaching me to be more patient in my life with everybody, and be grateful that I do have strong hands and feet.
Absolutely.
And to use these hands and feet in a way that makes a difference.
Yes.
In the lives of the people.
Yes. That's what it's really just all about, for us just uplifting each other, one another. We're all brothers and sisters. I feel like I look at you, you look like one of my, we could be sisters.
Absolutely. We are sisters, because the fact that we're even sitting here talking together means that in another life, we probably were related.
Yeah.
And we have agreed to come back together in this life.
Yeah. And I always think about the bloodline. And when you look at the bloodline of man, it all came from a start. And that start is what evolved. We're all part of that evolution. We're all part of it. Our blood is all intertwined in some kind of way. So that's how I see it. I don't, genetically, they have other ways of trying to prove this, that, and the other about it. But if there was a beginning of us, the bloodline began there. And whether it came from the ocean, from the hills, or wherever, that beginning was the beginning of this evolution of who we are as people. And they say what the blood is, the study of blood is very interesting. You know, we are what eat for your blood type, because there's so many different blood types and everything, but they all still are interconnected. And the types evolved from one type, the original blood, O blood. So um, I would have to reread the book I have in there, Eat Right for Your Blood Type. That has a whole section in there that breaks down, the blood types, the A, B, and then blood O. The old old blood stands for original and old, and it's just a fascinating study. And
Yeah,
that
I had read that book so many years ago. In fact, I followed it
yeah.
religiously for a while until it's like, I can't do this anymore because it was too restrictive for me in terms of my family. Because I was reading that when I was raising two boys, and I didn't want to just separate myself and have a special diet for a B because I'm a B positive,
Okay.
and my husband is O. And I think one of my sons is a B, and I think I think both of them are B. So it's just like, man, we're not gonna do this. But it was helpful, like you said, the awareness. We start with the awareness that, and it's more like man-made. I'm seeing it's more man-made awareness because when you have pure inspiration, again, we're back to that, and consciousness, all those things that man made, like race, black, who created African Americans, and who created all these separation titles. It was man made, all man made.
Yeah.
The whole thing, racism is race is a social construct, and we have been so persuaded by man's belief rather than the creator and the awareness that you talk, the consciousness that says we're all one. We're all human beings. And it's only these, over the years, these false narratives, these lies and traditions that have caused us to hate each other, be divided, and so forth.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
So now let's be accountable. Like the next step is accountability. What's that look like for you being accountable today and even in your life?
Well, accountability to me looks like taking on the responsibility of sharing what I've learned, what has worked for me in my life. I was talking to a young brother today who was helping me shop at Kroger, who was, I asked him, I said, how are they treating you here? Do you like working here? And he said, yeah, the only thing is they just don't pay enough. And I'm like, okay, well, how old are you? So he said, I'm 17. I'm still in school. And I said, so you're making what, 15, 16, 17 an hour? He said, yeah, I make about 15. And so I'm like, well, how much did you want to make? And he says, well, enough to pay for my car note and to pay for some of the things. And I said, well, okay, so what are you working for? What is your overall objective in working? And I knew that was going to have him think about something. He's never really considered that.
Yeah.
However, I shared with him, I said, look, if you're interested in making money, first thing you need to understand about money is that it's just a tool. It's just like your car. It's a tool to get you from point A to point B. Second of all, if I think that the whole philosophy in belief that Robert Kiyosaki had shared with us in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you don't work for money. You work for knowledge. Work to gain knowledge. Work to gain all that you can learn. And in the industry that you're in. And when you get knowledge, and this has always worked for me, it's my knowledge that people has been reciprocal at giving me money for, giving, paying for. So um as I was sharing this with him, he was truly engaged in the conversation and very, I would say, receptive of what we were talking about. And he says, you're right. I said, so what is it you like to do? What do you feel you have a resonance, what resonates to you, your spirit, in what you want to do in your life? That's what you have to look at, about your career in making money with. You want to do something that's going to make you happy. And not that that's the only thing, but you have to think about those things. So my issue is being accountable. I hold myself to be accountable to our youth, to our children, to our seniors. I hold myself to trying to be accountable to sharing and giving back to them what I can, what I can give to them. My last business in the Atlanta Child Care Guide as the publisher, the title of the business, I was a child care resource and referral service. And being able to provide people with resources, and getting them in training in early childhood development, that made me feel accountable to them, which I know is important for the development of us as a people, period. I am where I am now today because of all of the mentors who stepped up in my life and, was giving to me. And that says that's accountability to me. Mm-hmm. So awareness, accountability, and then acceptance. Acceptance is, well, there's some people you can reach and some people you can't. And you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it. It doesn't mean they're always going to digest what you have to offer them. But there's some people that believe, and I remember this when I was going and was in the church in, organized religion. I asked a minister one time, a very popular minister, I said, you have all this knowledge about the things that have been deceptive in the teachings about the Bible. Why don't you teach the truth of that is the truth instead of continuing on with teaching the lies? That's not accountability to me. And he said, well, some people aren't ready for the truth. I said, that doesn't justify teaching, continue to perpetrate the lie. To me, that's not accountability. And so if they're not ready for it, it doesn't mean that the truth shouldn't be laid before them. So acceptance, let's get to where we can just accept the truth of the matter of things and try to walk in as much truth as we can. When people come to me in trainings and workshops and things that I'm trying to teach them that I've been educated about and things that I do know about from my spirit and my experiences, I tell them this: if I don't know, the answer to your question, I'm going to let you know I don't know, but we can try to find out. That's why we got this here phone, this device now that, will help us find out, the truths and the answers to what.
And AI is there to help lend a helping hand as well.
All the time. I'm on it all the time asking it questions.
Yeah.
And
So there's no excuse. There's no excuse.
right. So and I think that it's working because people are becoming more aware of truths, because it's out there now.
Well, even if people think they're speaking the truth, a large majority may not believe them because they haven't studied or they don't know what this person knows. There's a lot going on around the Obamas right now and in the news and big news, and people are like shocked that someone would come out and say certain things about people, and it's like, this is old news to me, but not everybody believes it. So the controversy when you say truth, speak the truth, it just depends on how long you've been doing your homework and there's research and knowledge and awareness. Okay, even consciousness about what has been happening globally. When Obama was president, there was so much horrible things that he was doing as president. But today, when you bring stuff like that, oh, he was the best president in the world. It's like, what book what have you been looking at? He was killing the Gaddafi and ordering all he was and so there's the truth, and then there's the capital T that people are not even aware of because they're blinded by certain behavior. So I think you and we realize acceptance is important in that area where people don't want to, like you said, that pastor said people aren't ready for that. Yeah. So I'm learning in my own family that even though I've been a health and well-being guru for years, they don't accept that. And so I have in turn had to accept the fact that they don't want to hear anymore. They'd rather not read the ingredients on the box because then they don't come out of their comfort zone. And so I'm in a real important place of acceptance, my dear, with people around me who want to stay in their truth, little t. And I'm in big truth. I'm trying to be hearing from the birds and the bees and the conscious. They don't want to hear that. It's like they rather eat their burgers and do their thing. So acceptance to me is maybe the biggest area that I'm dealing with right now. And then taking the action of just being me, doing my own thing and taking care of me. You know what? My action is take care of me and accept what people want to believe or not believe, and keep stepping, taking action, keep stepping, Keep it moving either way. Mm-hmm. But we do acknowledge acceptance, which I love about your book, because every step of the way you have had to learn that lesson.
Absolutely.
You have taught it so well. Those four, you are just demonstrating awareness, accountability, acceptance, and action in such a beautiful way. So thank you, my sister.
Thank you.
In your special needs position.
Yes. Thank you. I am I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And because each time somebody comes to me that has gotten something from it out the book, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. And it's hopefully I'm continuing to write, and hopefully the work will continue to inspire other people on different topics. And I'm getting ready to, touch on some very, heavy topics that, we have been not dealing with, within ourselves, along with our culture and our systems, and the way that they deal with these topics and issues. So we'll see how things go, but I will continue to write my truths that I know have resonated with a lot of people who have gone through some of the same things and similar things, just like you said about the trip to Jamaica. Gosh, that trip was a trip. I started the title.
And it's like when it was done, they all said and done. It's like, what did we learn? We didn't enjoy it as much as we thought, but there were so many lessons in that.
Yes.
Like you, I mean, what was the biggest lesson for
Yes.
you from Jamaica?
Oh, you
No
know what?
Jamaica, no problem. Yeah,
And
right.
no problem. You know, the biggest lesson for me when that changed, the biggest change for me, it was my first time ever seeing poverty at that level. And when I came back to the States from there, I totally cleaned out my closet. I felt like I was the most materialistic person walking this earth. I really did. I mean, when I went to Maroon Town and I had that experience that I wrote about in going up there to Maroon Town, I just, yeah, it changed me. It changed me to really become appreciative of what I have, and not, I don't take it for granted. It's
Yeah.
definitely, I've been materialistic. I mean, and I've
Yeah.
learned since then, I do not worship this stuff. I try to work on, all the time, detaching myself from these things that really don't do anything for me. Decorate the house. Uh, and I'm trying to get out the house every day. I come here primarily just to lay down and go to sleep.
Well, here's the reality I'm experiencing now. I mean, this is my third day helping this veteran military unload her stuff into a house that's already stuffed. Okay.
Okay.
And the problem that I see clearly now is mental illness causes people to desire more external things to fulfill them. Now, this person is on medication. She says she doesn't even know how many medications she's taking.
Oh no.
And so, when you've been in the military for 18 years, it changes your mind, your thinking, your the way you live. And then when you have a trauma show up, both parents die in 1 year, you're something else, somebody else dies in another. Your brain is not even in an aware consciousness state. It's in a confused state because war and death and all these life experiences. And so what do you do? I need to buy this. I need to buy this. There are things that people buy, they still have the tags on. Hoarders have things in their house that still have the tag on them. Why didn't they use it? They're not buying it to use it. It just makes them feel good to buy. So therefore they're filling an empty void with things outside here, and then they can't stop. So it really is a sickness. And like you, I come home and I'm like, I need to get rid of it. I got too many seashells over here. I need to get rid of this. Got too many of this. Let me get rid of it. When I have these experiences, and I used to clean houses like with people who had a lot of stuff, I would come home and let me see, what can I get rid of? Because I'm too material, and I'm a minimalist. But those experiences, like you said, Jamaica, poverty, serious poverty, hoarders, let me get rid of some stuff. It's too crowded in here. So we can be thankful and take accountability. Now that you've seen the poverty, what are you going to do in your own life? Are you going to continue to hoard and gather more stuff? That's why some people don't get rich and they don't need money, because they're going to spend it on stuff that they don't need. To me now, it's like, look at the wants versus the needs. I don't need anything. I am fully, my Heavenly Father, Creator, has given me everything I need. This woman, the people, and not just her, but I've seen people have a room full of just clothes. They use their whole bedroom for clothes. Jermaine Jackson is like that. There's a video on YouTube for Jermaine Jackson, one of the Jackson brothers. They interviewed him and his wife. They showed he has a whole room of nothing but clothes. And he's a hoarder of types for sure. And just think of the drama he's been through in his life that's created that mind. Well, I'm going to just collect. and you got way too much money. That's the problem. If you didn't have money, Jamaicans aren't collecting stuff, are they? They're just barely eating. So
They collect. My husband's one.
well, if
He's a hoarder. He is a hoarder at heart. But we're balancing each other out. He collects and I just get rid of.
yeah, you got to have that balance. You got to have a balance.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I was married to a man who was not at all other than greeting cards. People love to hold on to their greeting cards because that's what makes them feel better. And you know what happens to me? If somebody give me a card on my birthday, 2 days later it's in the trash. I'm not holding on to cards. That's not doesn't make me feel better at all. Sometimes. So why would I? But my ex used to. He had greeting cards for years. It's like, it's time to get rid of those. They just collecting dust, but that makes him feel better.
Yeah, I kept letters that my grandparents, grandparents sent me.
That's
And mother wrote me and stuff, things like that. Yeah, but I've learned to get rid of. I'm still downsizing. I still. It's been a constant practice of letting go. And it makes me feel good to let this stuff go. I have a table here full of paperwork. I'm ready to take it and just dump it all in the trash. All of it. Paperwork. I don't want to do paperwork anymore. I don't want to see no more paperwork. I want to let it go. Just and tell people stop sending me stuff.
Yeah.
No.
And a lot of people, my former partner who passed, my significant other, I call him, I couldn't stay in his house, his apartment long because there's just too much paper everywhere. And then books all over the place. He only had a 1-bedroom, 1-bath place, books everywhere. And they were just it dust, some of them like 50-year-old books. And I'm like, there's the internet now. He felt important holding on to his books in the bedroom, books everywhere. And I'm like, can we just get a bookcase and put all the books in? Nope, couldn't do that. So, and then just the paper everywhere. It was like, and that's the relationship I could not be in with someone long who has that type of lifestyle. Because I'm like, get rid of it.
Yeah. I've learned that when we learn to have different, I think my values have elevated, and the things that are important to me now, what I want for my life in this, I see myself like in this final trimester, I'd like to be able to travel and see more of the world. I want to go to the Grand Canyon I've never been to and see more of the creators' designs of things of life. And that's what is, where my values are with stuff. I just want enough money to just be able to travel and see the world, things that I wasn't even able to take advantage of in the last couple 10 years or so of my life. So
I think that's beautiful, that what you haven't done you'd like to do, and you don't need all the material things to do that. You just want to. And see, when I first met my husband, my son's father, in 1976, I think it was, when I learned he worked for a major airline, I'm like, ooh, I could travel all over the world. I got excited about meeting this man. Mm-hmm. And so as he was courting me, I was like more attracted to his job than him. Yeah. I was like, I could travel. And I did, sister, for almost 40 years. I've traveled all over the world at no cost, hardly any cost, just going standby. So my experience early on was travel. Now I'm not desiring to travel. I don't want to travel that much.
Mm-hmm. My sister, I have 2 that work for Delta, and they've been all over the world and everywhere. And I often try to ask them, I said, well, what have you learned from any of them experiences? Because I don't better not say that. They may see this video, but they still have some of the same behaviors. I don't think traveling was anything that made any big differences in their life. But traveling has always made differences I, in my life, just like I was sharing the issue about Jamaica. That
Yeah.
was, that trip I had learned a lot
And
from.
that was your first time to Jamaica?
Yeah, that was my first trip to Jamaica when I went there. And I mean, it was both positive and I don't want to say negative, but different. It was different. Yeah,
Yeah.
the story tells, you see, it was a big difference. Hmm.
And when I went to China, see, for me, it's like we're all the same. When the more you experience different cultures, different people, you have no prejudices, you have no
Yeah,
racism.
you see the,
We're all the
yeah.
same. We're all the
Mhm.
same. Well,
Yeah.
and the Chinese people were so nice. They were shocked at my husband. My husband's dark. He was dark skinned. We were like celebrities. They wanted to
Yeah,
take
that's what they
pictures with
say.
him and us because they don't experience
They don't
A lot
think
of
so.
Americans. So, and they were just the most pleasant, beautiful people. So when we have this political debates about China, it's not the people that are the problem. It's the governments.
Hmm.
And if
And
we
that's
can
the
just
same
stay,
thing we have here.
yeah, exactly. So if we
Exact
can
same
just stop
thing.
listening to all the divisive rhetoric that thinks we're supposed to hate each other because of our race or whatever political position, we need to stop listening to that and realize that the people, we need power and unity with the people. And the
Exactly.
government is corrupt as hell. Leave the don't look that way. It's like forget them. And then just deal with our local governments. That's
Yeah,
where the power is when we take control of our local government and
right.
get people in
Mhm.
there who are going to do
Vote.
stuff and vote for
Didn't I
local.
write did I write about that? Vote. The power we have in voting,
Yes, that was
y-
part of your book.
you
And
know?
it's more local than federal
Right.
because we, the
Mhm.
federal, they choose and they can maneuver and do all that in the higher level. But locally, we can make a difference.
Absolutely. And
So,
contrary to what people think, a lot of people who feel like, well, my vote doesn't matter, you know, yeah, it don't matter. If you don't vote,
yeah,
it
especially
doesn't make a
locally, it
difference.
does matter locally a lot.
Hmm.
Got to
Yeah.
make the change in our community first,
Hmm.
and let that reach out into the state and then make
Hmm.
federal until to me until they get rid of the lobby system, the government's going to be corrupt because the
Absolutely.
corporations are running the federal government. They do
Hmm.
whatever, whoever's putting money in their pocket, that's who they're going to listen
Yeah.
to.
And
So
that's the systems are just all based upon greed.
yeah, too much greed and just ignore
Mhm.
them. It's a clown show in Washington, in my opinion. That whole thing with the UFC and all that came out of that, it's a clown show. It's just meant to divide us, and we're divided again about some issue that came up. Always something. I think it's what they call psyop, psychological operation to confuse and divide the people, and we fall for it every time,
Yeah.
become more divisive about every little thing that shows up. So uh,
Yes.
it's crazy, but I'm glad that you and I were you finding similarities, community, sisterhood. That's what it's all about. So where can
Absolutely.
people get your book? What's the best place to get your book?
To just email me,
Okay,
Atlanta childcare at AOL.com. My website's being developed and reconstructed. I've had it happen 2, 3 times so far. So until I get the website up, because it's going to be a much bigger website than I initially, anticipated. But we were going to put one up just for the books.
is that
Um,
right? Atlanta Child.
childcare at AOL.com. Yeah.
Okay. So that's where
Mhm.
you can get, unless you
Mhm.
run into her and she's giving them out for free, you got to go buy them.
say that?
At-
Yeah, you
but
gotta run into me.
in Atlanta-
Bandage me up. Give me a massage, something.
Yeah, exactly. Bartering is the way.
Oh,
It
for
really
sure.
is. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
that's the best things, and that we
Yeah.
got to promote that too, along with
Yeah. And I'm
account.
also available for, doing speaking engagements and motivation speaking about just my experiences. And I love reaching out and talking to the youth and children still. The younger the better, because they just have unfiltered questions. They're on a whole nother plane based on where we are. They're still
Indigo.
trying to figure out. I know they look at us like probably, what is wrong? When are you people getting together? But yeah, because they taught me that through a lot of the bicycle safety presentations I've done. Why does the law say, I have to wear a helmet up till I'm 16 years old, but my parents don't have to? They ask some of the most intelligent questions.
That is a good question. What do you answer them?
That was one that I had to let them know. I said, well, the laws are made by people that don't always have the big picture or understanding or foresight to see that you need your parent. Your parent is just as important as you are. So they both should have to wear a helmet. And they don't look at it in light of just like they pass a law for us all to wear seatbelts. And that doesn't apply just to somebody based on their age. Age doesn't matter. Safety is safety across the whole border. And so some people, some local governments believe that, it should be left up to the parent, whether they want to be safe or not, when they don't see the big picture of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't wear a helmet. I have to admit, I don't wear a helmet all the time, but I'm on the sidewalk. I'm going like a mile an hour. So I don't feel, as an adult, we have to make a decision as, am I being safe? Am I being responsible?
Do
And
you
so
wear a
forth.
seatbelt when you get in a car?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Because it's the law. They give you a ticket
Okay.
here if you
Right.
don't get one, but they don't give me a ticket if I don't wear a helmet.
Exactly.
And I feel like I'm going so slow. I don't ride in the street. I don't ride in the street because too many people are doing this while they're driving, looking at their phone. And I've seen it happen where somebody's doing this and the car is going over here. And I wouldn't trust riding my bike in the street anywhere because too many unsafe drivers.
You don't have to be riding in the street for you to be unsafe. There's cars that run up off the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's
So-
why I pray before I leave my house. It's like, protect me. I pray
I do.
even before I drive out of my driveway.
I do too. I do too. My
And
first
I pray
prayer is
even
God,
before-
keep me safe.
Yeah, and even on before I ride my bike, I'm praying. Even though I'm on the sidewalk, I'm praying. And I just think about that all the time. I think about you. I said I should be wearing a helmet. And you know what it does? It makes me more cautious. I'm not going to be crazy riding, trying to get in front of a car or anything. I'm just more careful when I'm not wearing one. And every adult, it's their responsibility to be accountable to themselves first, whether you think you need it. I see people on racers with helmets all the time. They going like so fast in the street. They got a helmet on. They know they better have a helmet on. Riding on with a racer. My bike is about 20 years old. It ain't going too fast.
Yeah. Well, my first children's book which is titled The Power of Choices, which is the first book in the series of books. There's 3 books in the series for the safety program. Shares the story of my bicycle journey. And perhaps after you read that, you will see the importance of wearing a helmet. And, my first accident on a bicycle was riding it on the street, on the sidewalk, where a child ran out the house into my bike, ran into my bike while I'm riding on the sidewalk. So accidents, happen.
Oh yeah, they do. And so even that, you realize there's a risk.
Absolutely.
So I go out of my driveway in my car or my bike. I'm taking a risk.
Absolutely.
But I'm also trusting that my angel is with me and you're going to keep me safe. That's a double thing. So don't be crazy out there. Don't be stupid. Yeah. Don't be careless. It's all that definitely take that into consideration. So thank you for all that you're doing to make children especially safer, and even adults to think about their behavior.
Yes.
And take action. That's what you do. You're in action. It's amazing. You're in a wheelchair, but you taking more action than people who not in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's my purpose is for being here. To try to make these differences. In the mind, and it starts in the mind, like you said, in the mindset. So I'm excited that I have more stories come, and that they'll make differences, and especially for our kids.
It's really we gotta focus on the younger generation and come out of our racism attitudes, prejudice, ignorant. We got to come out of this ignorance in this time we're in, so the younger generation does not repeat our mistakes.
Exactly.
Stop that. So any final words for our audience?
I want to thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share, and want to just send out lots of love and, positive inspiration, to anybody out there that needs it. I think that we have to realize we're all responsible for our own happiness. We have to step up and, take action and do what we need to do to fix our lives and then help others. Yeah. So
thank us, as we say, thank us, united souls, united spirits. And as I'm doing every morning, I'm still following the Buddhist monks who walk for peace every morning. Today is going to be my peaceful day, and then do it. Don't let anybody take away your peaceful day. Once you write it out and speak it, you got to follow through and be accountable, as Christy says, be accountable for what you write and what you're thinking every day. So love you, sister. We got to do this again. It's so a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Thank us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a beautiful evening.
And Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe-o.
Okay.
Hapa akapapa ar Penenza put la kukana sa ar Kahus tiki alemik sa ora azempa haka kepu katarak Adirke hen Tashia was
Oops. Back to you.
One, the fear would have kabali a kalat nun. I kick a geek a bunch of pop to sad. I knew get a was, we can pop out that ass. I knew I would for pop a lag. I knew I got but you I could get that. I knew could do a coach edition ain't yet. I knew could do la mother was part of that. I do free papa that the guy was said for nas that super do I got no horse. I could put it in hot, yeah. The cook kaboo and ha.